Yo, yo, yo. What is good, YouTube? You already know how we do it. Gotta start with the incense in the back and the water present, if you feel me. So I'm gonna start today's message off with a channeled song by Suicide Boys, Not Even Ghosts Are This Empty. It's a great song. Great song. And what we're delving into today is the subject of fear. I want to start with a little bit of contextualization because I'm very blessed. I'm very blessed, but I have been through lots of things, and I feel like it's important to mention that because while I wasn't left out in the cold on the streets, and I don't want to sit here and claim, I don't want to claim that because that would be taking away from people who experienced that catastrophic fate. But I do want to be able to assert myself as someone who has experienced a lot of pain in their life, has experienced a lot of loss, can relate to a lot of people who have felt like they have nothing. I've been there, so I might not have had it as rough as some people, but I can have compassion. So I'm just starting that off. I'm starting off with that to say that the fear of death and the fear of pain is the most straightforward for me way of thinking of fear. Probably because I'm a man and I tend to have a bit of a warrior spirit. But those aren't the only ways you can feel fear, not even close. Some other ways you can feel fear is the fear of success, the fear of new things, and the fear of displeasing others. On the opposite hand of success, you can be stuck in a mentality of lack and scarcity, which is actually a fear of being able to get what you need. So this all stems from the ego mind, because it stems from your identity within this physical plane. When you're operating from fear, you're doing everything within your physical power to get what you think you need. So for example, let's say you're at a party, right? And you don't want to be lame, so you show up to the party with your blunt, your shit, and that's other people's projections maybe coming onto you. Maybe you didn't want to drink when you showed up to the party, but you show up and you drink. That's the fear of other people disapproving of you. Let's say you're actually just scared. You're just scared to get out and go interact with some people you want to. Like, say there's a function and it's mad lit and you're trying to attend, you feel me? But you can't because you're so scared to get out of your comfort zone. You're so scared to experience any pain. You're so scared of any risk because you don't want to die. You need to be in complete control at all times. And I understand, because I lived pretty much entirely out of my ego at one point. Okay, I lived in ignorance and delusion. So it's part of this. It's life. The lotus flower, it blooms twice. So a little message I have here. That was kind of just me giving a little bit of contextualization about the experiences I have to show that I have experienced some difficult situations where there's pain and death. So like I have a perspective in which I can talk about this. Okay, even though I might not have had the roughest life. So the point of this is to talk about what do you do with all of that? What do you do? Okay, so I'm aware that there's this fear, that I'm operating from fear. I'm operating unconsciously. I'm operating from people's projections. What do you do? I'm going to read this. I wrote this down. When you anchor into the present moment and breathe, plus have faith that the universe will never give you more than you can handle, then you start to release the conditioned fear and express yourself authentically. Everything you desire will come to fruition with ease of universal flow because you are no longer blocking your blessings with a false sense of separation. An abundance of bliss and trust in the universe is the default state. So I kind of have that transition into a story about one of my little nephews, who I love very much. Sending many love and many blessings. Sending much love and many blessings. But we were chilling, right? And we were chilling at the lakes. And it's kind of a crowded space there. So, things can get a little crazy, but him and my brother was playing Mario Kart, and I don't know how old he is, but I'd say he's below 5. He's definitely young, right? So he's kind of still in that innocent state of being connected directly to source because he hasn't really experienced a lot of the conditioning that some of us may have. So while some children would be in that situation, they get to play the game. Obviously, an adult, we don't give a fuck about Mario Party, bro, but, like, the kid, like, you could be feeling the projections of other people's insecurities on you, and be scared to act in a certain way. Let me explain a little further. So, the time came for my boy to wager some coins, right? And you would think with all these potential projections, he would wager a little bit, whatever. No, he goes all in. He has no fear, and he wins. Now, he didn't win the whole game because he came in late, but isn't that crazy? So jumping off of that and kind of finishing out this video, I don't want to say a conclusion because I think you should keep your intellect unencumbered by identifications. It's a Sud Guru quote. I do want to end this on the message of a very straightforward answer to how you can release these fears, because while I did have this channeled writing, it was looking back on it, it was a little targeted towards people who are stuck in a fear of the comfort zone, maybe like struggling with addictions, because that was the primary problems I've dealt with so far. But the point of this video is to release all these unconditioned fears in which society has projected upon you. All that you have to do is surrender your ego to the universe, and trust. Continue to put your trust into the fact that there's a divinely orchestrated plan far beyond what your mind can comprehend in those fears and illusions. And when you do this, and you follow your intuition and you walk the righteous eightfold path, then you can start to free yourself from some of that dukkha. You heard? So I hope this message helped. I hope this message reached those who are in need or are interested. Thank you so much for being here. Much love. See you next time.